welcome to Brazil.
Oh, thank you, Marcelo.
I'm not a journalist.
Okay.
I'm representing a group of fans of Rio de Janeiro calling Carioca Trekker.
Okay.
The questions I will ask to you
Yes.
were chosen for these members of the group of fans.
Oh, please give them my love when you go back.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Few people remember, but besides Saavik, you play another Vulcan character in Star Trek called Talera.
Oh, okay.
I infiltrate a spy in Next Generation series.
Yes.
All characters that you playing from Vulcan culture.
Right.
And what did this characters bring to Robin, and what Robin can put from you in these characters?
Oh, Marcelo, what a thoughtful question. Well, so I'm a rather expressive and emotional person.
Okay.
I can cry at a really good commercial, like for McDonald's, right? And so, do we need to worry about that? Okay, sorry. My point is, if you hung out with me for a little while, you would know that by nature I'm very expressive. I'm not stoic whatsoever. I don't hold anything in. In fact, it probably comes out too much. Okay, I'm overly expressive, and so quick to laugh, quick to cry, quick to love. And so the idea that I would be cast as a Vulcan was just a real mental impossibility for me.
No emotion.
I know, but Leonard Nimoy, I met him one-on-one, which is very unusual when you're about to be cast for a role in a major motion picture. Typically there's a room full of people and you have no idea who they are, you're not introduced, and you do the best you can to bring life to the lines, to the scenes that they've given you to read. Mm-hmm. But with Mr. Nimoy, we were one-on-one in his office, very unthreatening. He made me feel very comfortable and at home with him. And he explained to me, Vulcans have 1,000 years of wisdom behind the eyes. And I'm like, oh my God, I'll do my best. And he after I got the part, he told me I should practice speaking into the mirror without moving my face, because that's another thing. Everything moves when I talk. I know. So my point is, I came to play Saavik with a lot of anxiety and concern that I didn't have what it took to bring something to the character with integrity. Because when I was playing her, Marcelo, I felt very robotic. I felt stiff. I felt repressed, and I thought, this can't be right. This can't be right, because I'm not doing very much. This is what I thought. I thought, I'm just not bringing it, right? But I didn't get fired. I was waiting for a pink slip for like 2 weeks, and then finally I thought, well, now they've got too much film. They can't fire me. And so we just kept going. But Leonard had this way, even though he directed me in a very strictly Vulcan way, like he came up to me the last scene where he's gone through the ritual, the Faltor Pan ritual, and now Spock is walking amongst us, and he's looking at each of us in the face. Does he remember us? What does he see? And he took me aside before the scene was shot, and he said, Robin, how would you feel if someone that you had been intimate with, if years have gone by and now you see them on a New York City street? And I was like, just like that, oh my God, wow. And I looked up, and he said, that's it, that's what I want. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he had this really lovely way of kind of disarming me about a moment or what he wanted from a scene. I agonized over David is Dead. I agonized over that moment, and he would not let me put any emotion on it. And so I have to think, going back to your question, I have to think that even though I felt very robotic and like I wasn't using my goods, bringing the goods to the scene, it came out anyway. As much as I was repressing myself, something was coming out anyway. And I like to think that he could see that, and that's why it worked. All those years later, when I came back to play Talera, I think what I liked most about that was that I had more confidence. I suddenly, I understood that in the Star Trek world, you don't slur your words. I tend to stutter because my thoughts come out faster than my mouth will carry them. But in the Star Trek world, everything is measured. Words are pronounced clearly, and you don't trip over yourself the way Robin would in real life. And so it's like, and so I had this, and I also this military bearing, right? I sort of enjoyed that part of it because the costume was very, so it wasn't like you felt like this, you know what I'm saying? So I was trying to flirt with. I remember thinking I'm gonna let my character flirt with Patrick's character, and I was trying to do that by holding my head a certain way and looking at him, sideways, because it certainly wasn't in the rest of me. Do you know what I mean? So I and get this. So I was asking questions about Talera in the first episode because it's a 2-episode part, right? I said
one,
yeah,
two.
yeah, and I said, guys, something's going on here. She's not. I get an undertow. I get there's subterfuge here, and I said, so can I please see the second script, the second part? Where does this go? And they said, no, we don't have it yet. You can't see it. So to some extent, I was acting with a lot of faith and trust that the director wouldn't let me make a fool of myself or contradict something that would have been established later in the script, right? You know what I mean? You want to maintain continuity in your character. So I just had to trust that even though I didn't feel like I was who I said I was, I didn't know why until I got the second script. So I was acting a bit in a vacuum, you know what I mean, without that important intelligence. So I was in terms of the character, Marcelo, I was just flying by the seat of my pants. Does that make sense?
Sim.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Leonardo more. What for you acting alongside him?
Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't follow you. Acting alongside who?
Leonardo Nimoy.
Oh, Leonard Nimoy.
Acting with him.
Oh, well, it's interesting you say that because I didn't really, God, I only had one little scene with him. I said 2 words. I said, may your journey be free of incident or something like that. I worked with him, he worked with me as a director, but not really so much as an actor. He was amazing. Marcelo, I told him the first day of work, Mr. Nimoy, you seem to think I know what I'm doing, but I don't. And he said, Robin, I'll take you every step of the way. And he kept his promise. Before every scene, he'd say, come here. And we'd sit at the edge of the stage, and he'd say, okay, he'd say, let me hear it. And I'd say the lines. And he'd say, okay, smaller, more, less. No, it was always less, never more. He'd say, don't breathe. He was always trying to sort of take, more rye, more dry, so anyway, yeah.
And for you, how heavy Saavik in unification?
Oh, that was that. I'll get emotional. So Saavik went away rather unceremoniously in Star Trek 4, and there was this delicious plot point just left. Is she pregnant with Spock's child? And the fans had led me to believe, oh, you'll be back. But I wasn't. And Paramount had negotiated four films with me, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it wasn't completely out of the question that I might have thought that the studio would carry this character forward. But it was very clear in you know, a period of time that Saavik was not going to be returning. And it was hard. It was hard. I will admit that. You know, but you know, show business is not. It's not about, you know, being buddies. It's a harsh business. And honestly, you know, I was very lucky. I was very lucky throughout my career that I had generally pretty positive experiences. You know what I mean? And I was never traumatized in the business, pretty much. But I will say, letting go of Star Trek was hard. That was hard because the fans, you know, I was still going out to conventions, and they wanted to know, where are you? Where are you? Why didn't you? So it's not up to me, right, that Saavik would come back. So when they reached out to me, when Otoy and the Roddenberry Archives reached out to me to play Saavik again, it was such a gift. And they gave her, in my opinion, just by the look and the very regal costume that they gave me, and that lovely moment with Kirk, and this man standing behind me being my son, in that short amount of time, in that 8 minutes on film, they gave me a life. Do you know? They gave Saavik an entire life. I could not have been more grateful. A present of all presents. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, all right, now Saavik, she's at peace.
Okay.
You know?
We finish our time.
Okay.
Can you give a message for the fans of Rio de Janeiro?
Oh, of course. I wish I could say it in Brazilian, but I would want them to live long and love long. Gene Roddenberry would write that. He would say, live long, love long, or long life, long love. Try to live by his ideals. Try to live by his ideals. Embrace the other. Embrace differences. Celebrate combinations. You know, all of those things. I believe in that with all my heart, and I think now more than ever in the world, we need to do that.
Okay.
Thank you, Marcelo.
Thank you. This is a gift to you.
Oh.
From the group.
Oh,
It's
my goodness.
magnetic signal.
I love it. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
It has a sugar loaf,
Yes.
a mountain sugar loaf of Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, how lovely. You've put the two in one symbol.
Okay.
I love that. Yes.
It's magnetic. You can put in your clothes.
It's going to go on my fridge. You know, isn't that where most magnets live? On our refrigerators? And so every time I eat, I'll see it. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. And give my love to everybody in Rio.
Okay.
Really.
Thank you.
All right, Marcelo.
Yes.